Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be taking a deep dive into a workshop.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it was held at National Chengchi University in Taipei, Taiwan.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was all about the
It's-
intersection of AI and teaching English as a foreign language.
I see. I see.
And leading this workshop were two professors, Jing-fen Su from the Foreign Language Center
Okay.
and Michael Cheng from the Department of English.
So both at the same university?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and they were doing some really interesting work. Um, the workshop was really cool.
Yeah.
It was structured kind of like, well, first there was an intro to AI tools,
Okay.
and then they talked about ethical considerations of using AI.
Right.
And then they presented some research projects that
Boy.
they've been working on. And then at the very end, there was a hands-on chatbot creation session.
Oh, wow. Chatbot creation. That sounds really interesting.
I know, that's what I'm most excited to talk about.
Yeah.
But first, let's talk about those ethical dilemmas that come up when we talk about using AI. You know, like, is it even okay for students to use AI to, like, improve their writing?
Mm-hmm.
And if we say yes, then how do we prevent them from, just letting the AI do all the work?
Yeah, those are really important questions.
Mm.
And from what I saw, they really tackled those questions head on during the workshop. They really emphasized that AI isn't about replacing teachers or students.
Right.
It's more about finding ways to use it responsibly and effectively.
Yeah.
And one of the points that they made that really stuck with me is that, well, they said that a person using AI will outperform someone who doesn't.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so it's about learning to use the tools, not fearing them.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
But, like, I still worry about students misusing it,
Mm-hmm.
especially, like, when it comes to assignments.
Yeah.
Like, how do we even know if a student is using AI or not?
Well, that's a really tough one.
Yeah.
Turns out that those AI detectors, they aren't as reliable as we might hope.
Really?
Yeah, actually, even OpenAI gave up on theirs. And plus, there's always the possibility that students could be using programs that are specifically designed to mask AI use.
Oh, so we're fighting a losing battle.
Kind of, yeah. Catching them is a real challenge.
So what do we do? Do we just, like, ban AI altogether?
Well, not necessarily.
Okay.
The workshop presented some different strategies.
Mm.
For example, teachers could compare a student's in-class writing with their at-home assignments.
Yeah.
And if there's like a really sudden and drastic improvement, then that might be a red flag.
That makes sense, but it kind of feels like we're playing this constant game of cat and mouse.
Yeah, I can see that.
What about if we instead try to reframe AI as, like, a tool for learning?
Yeah, that's another approach they discussed.
Okay.
It's about encouraging transparency and showing students how to use AI ethically as part of their writing process.
I really like that. It's
Yeah.
like we're focusing on empowering students to use AI responsibly rather than just trying to police them. It sounds like Jing-fen Su's research kind of dives into this idea of using AI as a learning tool.
Mm-hmm.
She had her students write advice letters, and then she had them revise them using ChatGPT.
Interesting.
Yeah, and then afterwards she had them answer some reflection prompts about the whole process.
So it wasn't just about letting the AI do all the work?
Right.
The students still had to think critically.
Yeah, exactly.
That's great.
They had to analyze the changes ChatGPT made,
Uh-huh.
and then they had to, like, justify their own choices
Mm-hmm.
about what to keep and what not to keep.
I see.
It seems like she's trying to find that sweet spot between,
Mhm.
leveraging AI's capabilities, but also making sure that students are still developing their own writing skills.
Yeah, finding that balance is key.
Right.
And what's really interesting is that her research actually highlighted a really wide range of student responses to using ChatGPT.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So some students found it incredibly helpful for, like, vocabulary and grammar, but then other students, they struggled to integrate the suggestions or even over-relied on the AI.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. There was this one student who said that ChatGPT's wording was almost perfect.
Oh, no.
It seems like they might have fallen into that over-reliance trap.
Yeah, and then you had another student who just, like, gave up trying to combine the different versions.
Yeah, I can see that happening.
It seems like there's a real need for individualized guidance when it comes to using AI.
Absolutely. And that's where some of the ethical questions that Sue raises become even more critical.
Okay.
Like, where do we draw the line between legitimate use of AI and plagiarism?
Yeah, that's a tough one.
How do students properly cite AI contributions?
Right.
These are questions that educators really need to grapple with as AI becomes more integrated into the classroom.
So are there any, like, practical steps that teachers can take to address these challenges?
Yeah, so Sue actually offers some really concrete tips for educators.
Oh, great.
First, we need to educate students on appropriate AI use, and ethical considerations.
So like teaching them the rules of the road?
Exactly.
Okay.
Then it's also super crucial to show them effective prompt rating strategies.
Oh, right, because the AI output depends on what you put into it.
Exactly. You can't just expect students to know how to use these tools effectively without, some guidance.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And it's not just about learning to use the tools, but also about learning from them.
Oh, interesting.
So Seuss also recommends that teachers design reflective worksheets that prompt students to think critically about the AI's suggestions rather than just passively accepting them.
I like that a lot.
Another practical tip is to require students to submit all versions of their writing, including the AI-generated versions.
To prove that they didn't just copy and paste.
Yeah, basically. It's all about transparency.
Transparency seems to be a recurring theme here,
Definitely.
which makes for a great transition into Michael Cheng's research.
Oh, okay.
His approach also emphasizes transparency,
Okay.
but it focuses on a slightly different aspect. So his assignments require students to first write in class, then revise at home using AI.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the catch. They have to submit a transcript of their entire interaction with the AI.
Oh, wow. So they can't hide anything.
Exactly. It's all out in the open.
That's a really interesting approach.
It's like having a window into their thought process.
Yeah, exactly.
But I imagine that also creates some challenges for students,
Like what?
Like crafting effective prompts,
Yeah.
interpreting feedback, and sifting through all those suggestions.
Yeah, it can get overwhelming.
Right.
Cheng acknowledges those challenges, and his research focuses on finding solutions.
So what are some of the solutions he's come up with?
Well, one particularly innovative approach he's exploring is the creation of custom chatbots.
Wait, hold on. Custom chatbots.
Yeah.
Tell me more about that.
Okay, so instead of relying on those generic AI tools, Cheng proposes creating tailored GPTs that are specifically designed for providing feedback on student writing.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, so instead of having that one-size-fits-all approach,
Yeah.
students would have access to AI tutors that are personalized to their specific needs and their learning levels.
I really like where this is going.
It's a pretty neat idea.
And the workshop even included a hands-on session where participants got to experiment with creating their own chatbots.
Yeah, they did.
Okay, now you've really piqued my curiosity. Was it super complicated? Did you need to be a coding whiz to create one of these custom chatbots?
Not at all.
Oh.
They actually used ChatGPT to demonstrate the process,
Oh.
and it seems surprisingly user-friendly.
Really?
Yeah, it's all about careful prompt engineering.
Prompt engineering, what's that?
Well, it's basically where you give ChatGPT very specific instructions
Oh.
to define the chatbot's persona, the feedback style, and the target audience.
Oh, I see.
So you're essentially training the chatbot to behave in a certain way by giving it detailed guidelines.
Okay, that makes sense.
And they shared an example prompt that really highlights this idea.
What did it say?
It started with, "You are Ismail English Buddy, a GPT designed to assist EFL elementary students with their English writing."
Ismail English Buddy. That's adorable.
Right.
Okay, so what else does the prompt say?
Okay, so then it outlines the chatbot's primary role.
Okay.
It says, your primary role is to gently correct their English compositions using easy, practical expressions to enhance naturalness without significantly altering their original work.
So there's not a strict grammar enforcer?
Right, exactly.
More like a helpful guide.
Yeah.
Okay, what else did the prompt specify?
Well, it emphasized using a kind and friendly tone
Oh, that's nice.
with clear and simple explanations that are tailored to young learners.
Yeah, that's...
And the instructions even included things like highlighting changes.
Oh, cool.
And presenting better expressions in bold.
So it's visually clear for the students.
Exactly.
That's great.
Yeah, those are great strategies for making feedback more accessible.
Yeah.
No less intimidating for, young learners. What about situations where a student's writing might be unclear or ambiguous?
Yeah. How does the chatbot handle that?
Well, that's addressed in the prompt as well.
Okay.
It instructs the chatbot to ask clarifying questions if the student's meaning's unclear.
Okay.
Or if there are multiple possible corrections.
That-
The goal is to make sure that the feedback is accurate and relevant.
It's amazing how much thought went into designing these prompts.
I know, right? It's like they've thought of everything.
Yeah. Did they mention any limitations with this, chatbot creation process?
Yeah, they did point out that this level of customization, it's only available for ChatGPT 4 users right now.
Oh, okay.
But for people who don't have access to that, they suggested exploring the free assistant options that are available on Hugging Face.
Oh, okay. I've heard of that.
Yeah, it's another platform for working with AI.
So even if you don't have, like, the latest version of ChatGPT, you can still experiment with this concept. It's really amazing how accessible this technology is becoming.
Yeah, I know. The possibilities are endless.
I know. I'm already thinking about all the different types of chatbots you could create
Yeah, me too.
for specific grammar points, vocabulary building, different writing genres. It's incredible.
It's amazing, right?
Yeah. It feels like we're on the cusp of a major shift in how we approach language learning.
I agree.
Okay, before we get carried away with all the possibilities here,
Okay.
let's take a step back and kind of revisit some of the key takeaways from the workshop.
Okay. Sounds good.
We've covered a lot of ground already, from ethical considerations to practical implementation strategies.
You're right.
It's a lot to take in.
Yeah, so I think it is important to synthesize what we've learned.
Okay.
I think one of the biggest takeaways is that AI has the potential to be an incredibly powerful tool for language learning.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's not a magic bullet.
Right.
We can't just throw technology at the problem and expect miracles.
Right.
It requires careful planning, thoughtful implementation, and a constant focus on student learning.
I totally agree. It's not a quick fix.
Yeah.
And it's also clear that there are multiple approaches to integrating AI into the classroom.
Right. Definitely.
Su's research emphasizes critical thinking and reflection, while Cheng's focuses on transparency and personalized feedback through those custom chatbots. Both approaches offer valuable insights,
For sure.
and they demonstrate the versatility of AI as an educational tool.
I completely agree.
It seems like the most important thing is to find the right approach for your specific teaching context and student needs.
Yeah, you're right.
There's no one-size-fits-all solution when it comes to AI.
Exactly. That's what makes it so exciting, you know?
Yeah.
We're still in the early stages of exploring AI's potential in education. There's so much room for experimentation, innovation, and discovery.
Speaking of discovery, we've talked a lot about the practical side of AI implementation.
Right.
But I want to circle back to that quote that we mentioned earlier.
Oh, which one?
The one that said that a person using AI will outperform someone who doesn't.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
That really stuck with me as something important to keep in mind,
Definitely.
especially as we, move forward with all this.
Yeah, it's a powerful reminder that AI is ultimately a tool, right?
Yeah.
And just like any tool, its effectiveness really depends on the skill of the user.
That's a good point.
So it's not about being replaced by AI. It's about learning to leverage it to enhance our own abilities.
I like that.
Yeah.
And that applies to both teachers and students, right?
Yes, absolutely.
We need to equip ourselves with the knowledge and skills to navigate this rapidly evolving landscape.
Yeah, it's changing so fast.
Right. And we need to be able to harness AI's potential in a way that benefits everyone.
I completely agree. And I think as we kind of start to wrap up this deep dive, it's important to emphasize that this is an ongoing conversation.
For sure.
We need to keep exploring these issues, sharing best practices, and engaging in open dialogue about the ethical implications of AI in education.
It's not a one and done kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah. Well said. It's like a call to action for all of us,
Yeah.
Educators, researchers, students, and anyone who's interested in the future of learning. We need to be active participants in shaping how AI is integrated into our classrooms and our lives.
I couldn't agree more.
We've covered a lot of ground today, from practical strategies to those broader ethical considerations.
It's been a really interesting discussion.
But I think the most important takeaway for me is that AI is not something to be feared,
Yeah.
It's an opportunity to rethink and reimagine what's possible in education.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
So, to our listeners, we leave you with this. As you consider the future of language learning and the role that AI might play, what excites you the most?
Good question.
What concerns you? And how do you envision yourself engaging with this technology as it continues to evolve?
Yeah, those are some great questions to think about.
Yeah, it's a lot to consider.
It is. And, it's important to remember that this is a journey we're all on together. And by approaching AI with curiosity, critical thinking, and a commitment to responsible use,
Right.
we can harness its potential to create some truly transformative learning experiences.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
We hope you found it informative and thought-provoking.
You had a great time talking about it.
And until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep those conversations going.
Absolutely. Yeah, it really gives teachers a lot of information.
Yeah.
By reviewing the transcripts, they can see exactly how students are interacting with the AI,
Hmm.
what kind of prompts they're using, and,
Right.
maybe even where they might be struggling.
Oh, that's a really good point. It's
Yeah,
like you can see their thought process.
exactly.
But I also imagine that creating these transcripts also creates some challenges for students.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Like what?
Well, I imagine that like crafting those effective prompts can be tough.
Mm-hmm.
And then, trying to interpret all that feedback
Yeah.
and then sifting through all those AI suggestions,
Mm-hmm.
it can be pretty overwhelming, I bet.
Yeah, definitely. It can be a lot to handle.
Yeah.
But luckily, Cheng acknowledges those challenges, and his
Ah.
research is all about trying to find solutions to those challenges.
So what are some of the solutions he's come up with?
Well, one approach he's exploring is the creation of custom chatbots.
Wait, hold on. Custom chatbots.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
Okay, so basically, instead of relying on like those generic AI tools,
Right.
Cheng is proposing that we create tailored GPTs
Okay.
that are specifically designed for providing feedback on student writing.
Oh, that's interesting.
So instead of having that one-size-fits-all approach, students could have access to AI tutors that are personalized to their specific needs and their learning levels.
Okay, yeah, I like where this is going.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense.
And you know what? The workshop even included a hands-on session
Really?
where participants got to experiment with creating their own chatbots.
Now you've really piqued my interest. So was it like super complicated?
Not at all.
Good.
Did you need to be like a coding whiz to create one of these custom chatbots? No.
Right.
They actually used ChatGPT to demonstrate the process.
Oh.
And it seems surprisingly user-friendly.
Hmm.
So essentially, it's all about what we call careful prompt engineering.
Okay, so prompt engineering, what is that?
So basically, you give ChatGPT very, very specific instructions
Okay.
to define the chatbot's persona,
Uh-huh.
its feedback style, and like its target audience.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So you're essentially training the chatbot to behave in a certain way by giving it these really detailed guidelines.
Oh, that makes sense.
And they actually shared an example prompt that really highlights this idea.
What did it say?
So it started with, you are Ismail English Buddy, a GPT designed to assist EFL elementary students with their English writing.
Ismail English Buddy.
Okay, that's adorable.
I know, right?
What else did it say?
So then it goes on to outline the chatbot's primary role.
And it says your primary role is to gently correct their English compositions using easy, practical expressions to enhance naturalness without significantly altering their original work.
So it's not like a strict grammar enforcer or anything.
Right, exactly.
It's more like a helpful guide, like we were talking about before.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, what else did the prompt specify?
Well, it emphasized using a kind and friendly tone
Oh, that's nice.
with clear and simple explanations that are tailored to young learners.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And the instructions even included things like highlighting the changes
cool.
and presenting like better expressions in bold.
So that it's visually really clear to the students what they should be focusing on.
Yeah, exactly. And those are some really great strategies for making feedback more accessible and less intimidating for young learners.
Absolutely.
What about like situations where a student's writing might be unclear or ambiguous?
Yeah, how does the chatbot handle that?
Well, that's addressed in the prompt too. It instructs the chatbot to ask clarifying questions if the student's meaning is unclear or if there are like multiple possible corrections.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah.
Okay.
The goal is to make sure that the feedback is accurate and relevant.
Wow, it's really amazing how much thought and detail went into these prompts.
It's really impressive, right?
Yeah.
It's like they really tried to think of everything.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Did they happen to mention any, limitations to this whole chatbot creation process?
Yeah, so they did point out that this level of customization is currently only available for ChatGPT 4 users.
Oh, okay.
But for those who don't have access to that, they suggested exploring the free assistant options that are available on Hugging Face.
Oh,
This is another platform for working with AI.
I've heard of that one.
Yeah, it's really cool.
So even if you don't have the latest version of ChatGPT, there are still ways to experiment with this concept.
Exactly. It's really exciting how accessible all this technology is becoming.
It is really exciting. The possibilities really are kind of endless.
I know, right?
Yeah, I'm already thinking of all the different types of chatbots we could create.
Me too. For specific grammar points, vocabulary building, different writing genres.
It's incredible.
It really is. It feels like we're at like a turning point in how we approach language learning.
It does feel like that, yeah.
Like we're on the verge of a major shift.
Okay, before we get too carried away with all the possibilities,
Okay.
let's take a step back for a minute
Mm-hmm.
and revisit some of the key takeaways from this workshop.
Yeah, good idea.
I mean, we've covered a lot, from ethical considerations to practical implementation strategies.
We have. It's a lot to process.
It is, yeah.
So yeah, I think it's important to synthesize what we've learned.
Yeah.
So one of the biggest takeaways for me is that AI has the potential to be a really powerful tool for language learning.
It really does, yeah.
But it's not like a magic solution.
Right.
It's not a magic bullet.
Yeah.
We can't just throw technology at the problem and expect miracles.
Exactly.
It requires careful planning, thoughtful implementation,
Right.
and a constant focus on student learning above all.
It's not a quick fix. It's a process.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a journey.
Right.
And it's also become clear that there are multiple approaches to integrating AI into the classroom.
Oh, for sure.
Like we've seen, Su's research emphasizes critical thinking and reflection, while Cheng's focuses on transparency and personalized feedback through those custom chatbots.
Yes, exactly. Two very different approaches.
Right.
And they both offer valuable insights.
They do.
And they both demonstrate how versatile AI can be as an educational tool.
And I think that's what makes it so exciting, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Like we're still in the early stages of exploring AI's potential in education.
It feels like there's still so much we don't know.
Right, exactly.
And so much room for experimentation,
Yeah.
innovation, and discovery.
Speaking of discovery, we've talked a lot about the practical side of AI implementation.
Yeah.
But I want to go back to that quote that we mentioned earlier about,
Which one?
about how a person using AI will outperform someone who doesn't.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a good one.
It really stuck with me as something really important to consider as we move forward with all of this.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a really good reminder that AI is ultimately just a tool.
Yeah.
And like any tool, its effectiveness really depends on the skill of the person who's using it.
Yeah, it's true.
So it's not about being replaced by AI.
Uh-huh.
It's about learning how to use it effectively to enhance our own ability.
To make us better.
Exactly.
I really like that. And that applies to both teachers and students.
Oh, absolutely. We all need to be on board with this.
We need to equip ourselves with the knowledge and the skills to navigate this rapidly evolving landscape.
Yeah, because it's changing so fast.
Right.
And we have to figure out how to harness AI's potential in a way that benefits everyone.
Yeah, it's not about leaving anyone behind.
Right.
And, as we kind of wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
I think it's important to emphasize that this is like an ongoing
It
conversation.
really is. Yeah.
It's not over.
Definitely not.
We need to keep exploring these issues and sharing best practices and engaging in open dialogue about all these ethical implications of AI in education.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, it's not a one and done kind of thing, right?
Exactly.
So, yeah, well said. It's like a call to action for all of us.
I think so, yeah.
For educators, researchers, students, and anyone who is interested in the future of learning.
Definitely.
We need to be active participants in how AI is integrated into our classrooms and into our lives.
Couldn't agree more.
And, we've covered a lot today, from the really practical strategies to these broader ethical considerations.
It's been a really interesting discussion.
It has. But I think the most important takeaway, at least for me, is that AI is not something to be feared. It's really an opportunity to rethink and reimagine what's possible in education.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
So to our listeners, we leave you with this. As you consider the future of language learning and the role that AI might play, what excites you the most about it?
Yeah, good question.
What concerns you about it?
Yeah.
And how do you envision yourself engaging with this technology as it continues to evolve?
It's a lot to think about.
It is, yeah. A lot to consider.
But, I think it's important to remember that this is a journey we're all on together.
Yeah, for sure.
And by approaching AI with curiosity, critical thinking, and a commitment to using it responsibly, we can harness its potential to create some truly transformative learning experiences.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
We hope you found it informative and thought-provoking.
We had a lot of fun talking about it.
Yeah, and until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep those conversations going.
Absolutely.
It really shows that there's no, one right way to use AI in the classroom.
Yeah,
It's all about finding what works best for you and your students.
absolutely. And that's what makes it so exciting, right?
Yeah.
It feels like we're just scratching the surface. There's still so much we can do.
So much to explore.
Yeah, and discover.
You know, we've talked a lot about the practical side of things,
Yeah.
but I want to circle back to that quote we mentioned earlier
Which one?
about how a person using AI will outperform someone who doesn't.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It just really got me thinking.
It is a powerful statement.
It is.
It makes you realize that AI is just a tool.
Mm-hmm.
And like any tool, its effectiveness depends on the person using it.
It all comes back to the human element.
Exactly.
And that goes for both teachers and students, right?
Absolutely.
We need to, empower ourselves with the knowledge and skills to use AI effectively.
We need to stay ahead of the curve.
Yeah, because things are changing so quickly.
It's moving fast.
We need to figure out how to use AI in a way that benefits everyone.
I completely agree.
And as we wrap up this deep dive, I think it's important to remember that this conversation isn't over.
Oh, definitely not.
This is just the beginning.
Yeah.
We need to keep talking about these issues, sharing what we're learning,
Yeah.
and keep thinking critically about the role of AI in education.
Absolutely.
So it's a call to action for everyone.
Yeah.
Teachers,
For sure.
researchers,
Definitely.
distance.
Yeah.
We all need to be involved in shaping the future of learning.
It's a collective effort.
Yeah, and we've covered a lot today, from the practical how-tos to the bigger ethical questions.
It's been a great discussion.
But I think the biggest takeaway for me
Yeah.
is that we shouldn't be afraid of AI.
I agree.
It's a chance for us to reimagine what education can be.
To push the boundaries.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So to our listeners, we leave you with this.
Okay.
Think about the future of language learning
Mm-hmm.
and the role that AI might play in it.
Yeah.
What are you most excited about? What are you concerned about?
Good questions.
And how do you see yourself using this technology as it evolves?
Those are some great questions to consider.
It's a lot to think about.
It is. But remember, we're all in this together.
Yeah.
And if we approach AI with curiosity,
Mm-hmm.
a critical mind,
Yeah.
and a commitment to responsible use,
Right.
we can unlock its potential to create truly amazing learning experiences.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone.
Thanks for listening.
We hope you found it informative and thought-provoking.
We had a great time talking about it.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep those conversations going.
Absolutely.
Breathe deep, close your eyes, and surrender to the cause. Let the rhythm of the symbols take you far. In the dance of the arcana, see your story start to bloom. Every flip, every turn, it's like magic in the room. Tarot trance, feel the vibe, let your spirit take a ride.